Hey there, Shawna Martinez with Performance Team. So we get asked a lot when we meet with sellers. I know my house is gonna sell because if it's even remotely halfway decent product and priced correctly and put on the market correctly, it's gonna sell. It's not if it's gonna sell, it's how much over asking it's gonna sell for. But then the flip side of that is, where am I gonna go? And now I have to compete with all these buyers on these other homes. What do I do if my house sells and I have nowhere to go? Well, there's a couple of different options. One thing is you can always move into an apartment. And I always say that's a great option if it's something that you can do, meaning that, if you don't need a big space, you're fine, living above and below people for a short amount of time. Apartments are a great option because they're building tons and tons of apartments, and it's usually easy to get into those. And they have short-term leases, so you don't have to stay in them for a long time. But what I tell people is if you can go into an apartment, sign the 12-month lease. Just make sure you know up front what the termination fee is going to be if you cancel early. And then it's worth it because if you instead of doing a 12-month lease where it's, a large amount spread out over 12 months and it's a lower rental amount per month, if you go on a short-term rental like 3 months or 6 months, they're going to jack that up. They're going to jack it up, double sometimes. So it's like, just go ahead and get in the 12-month if you can, and just pay that termination fee at the end. Trust me, if you put it pen to paper, you're going to be so much better off that way, and it's going to cost you a lot less money. So you have that option. The other option, like I've done in my other videos and talked about, is finding a short-term lease. Finding somebody who has their house for rent, usually for rent by owners, are a great option to be able to find a short-term lease because you can deal directly with the seller or the landlord, and agents don't get involved and mess it up because, let's be honest, they have a good time doing that. It happens a lot. And this way you're able to negotiate directly. You can pay just a little bit more in rent, and then you have a home for 6 months while you decide. You can also sell your house. Let's say you're building a house or you want a little time, maybe you're moving out of state. A lot of people are relocating here, but a lot of people are leaving here and going to other places. You can also ask for a long lease back. So there's, those are just a couple of options that I have right off the top of my head, but there's other ways too. You just have to get creative. And now more than ever, buyers are giving long lease backs. I had a client last year, towards the end of the year, that we sold their house and they were building a new one and it was gonna be ready for like 4 months. And they got a lease back for the entire time and it was awesome. They didn't have to move twice. They had young kids, so it worked out. And my motto is always ask, and the worst they can say is no, right? And then we can deal with that. But these are some of the tips that I would give you if you're going to sell your house and not know where you're gonna move. Again, just call me. I'd be happy to walk you through it, give you the options, see which one works best for you, and then get to work to find you whatever it is that you need.